handled it was good. Was there anything else that you said to her in that moment or was it just simply like, you're okay, and then you guys went on with your life as usual?
Yeah, it was just a incident. It was never a reoccurrence. Situation. And I think that was the most important thing on what you do behind closed doors. And how you treat your kids behind closed doors. The relationship that you have. People are going to try to throw salt in the game. They're going to try to mess up any relationship that is happy, especially if they're unhappy. So you have to, take a step back and just say, you know what? Don't even worry about it. To yourself, have a little chat, talk to yourself. I do it, and I was able to see it through. And her smile, again, it lit everything up for me. It changed everything. I forgot all about it by supper. I was done.
With her smile, you said? That was it?
Yes.
Yeah, I
forgot all about it.
Yeah, because she was accepting. It was pure love in her heart for you, and that was it.
Absolutely.
Now, she's a teenager. We just heard her kind of enter into the background, as teenagers do, slip in and out of the room. And she's a teenager, and she'll be dating soon. And in her dating, do you have any preferences for what dating life looks like for her? Do you want her to be dating gay? Do you want her to be dating straight? What do you want for her?
Well, this is really interesting. I get this question all the time, and if you, it's kind of like a jaw dropper once I reply.
Wait, before you say it, let me do a little spoiler alert to my listeners. This very answer to this question is the reason Reg is joining us today on the show, because I had my jaw dropped when we were having the conversation many months ago. I was like, what? So, okay, go ahead with what you're going to say here.
Okay, so to answer the question, would I prefer my child to date the same sex? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I say that from experience, of course. I'm saying that from being with both sides.
Okay.
Experience, once again.
Because you were with men before you were with women, correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
Okay.
And knowing that, how things is in this lifestyle here will eat you alive if you're not aware. Not saying that she isn't, but this here, I wouldn't want this for her. I would not want this for her, The main thing is this is not her life. Now, if this is what she had wanted, then I had no other choice but to respect it. Once again, this is my mother had to respect me over time as well. But
right.
As far as her, she loves males,
Okay.
And, although she's been approached by, let's say, my kind, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a no-no.
By women. Women have approached
right,
her.
So aggressive,
right.
The AGs, yeah, and that's definitely a no-no.
Okay, let me decode this for listeners that may not know. We're talking about AGs, aggressive. There are studs. There are femmes. There are all kinds of lingo. Are there any other words that I'm forgetting? Feminine, stud,
butch, stud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the type of woman that was approaching her daughter, she's just saying, were more masculine or stud, butch, aggressive. AG is an old school term to me, but to you probably not. So yes. Okay, I was familiar with that term upon dating someone who was AG, and I was like, what are you? And she's like, AG, and I was like, what? What is that? So that was new to me years ago in my life, but I do understand that, and I wanted to decode that. So she's been approached, you said, but for her attraction level is men.
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Now, a lot of you guys out there may be like, okay, so it's okay for you, but not for your daughter. Now, this is Parenting 101. We all have things we want for our children, and it may not be the same thing we wanted for ourselves. But I think at the baseline of what you're saying, Reds, is that what you want is what your daughter really wants for her. What her desire is what you want for her. So that was very interesting to me. So allow me to play devil's advocate here. How would you feel if she came to you and she said, I care for a woman? What would you feel about that?
Well, I would definitely have to. I've got a whole host of questions. I got questions I need answers to. The when, the who, the what, and,
right.
and the why, because again, if this is where she wants to be and this is what she wants to do, like any other parent, I'm going to have to support her. If this person is going to be conducive to what she's trying to do in life and promote her success and stand by her, then guess what? I'm all for it. But again, will I like it? No, absolutely not. I can't stress that enough. I know it sounds very hypocritical coming from me. Yeah, I am aware of that. I am very aware of that.
Well, this is why I wanted to talk to you, and this is why I like how you're real. I love honest people that keep it 100, and you did that, and you surprised me, you shocked me, because I do see you, and I'm familiar, having been, a part of this community, and one of the letters in that community for sure, so I was like, you know what? What is this? I've never met anybody that was so like, this is what my stance is, and I've said what I said, and I loved it. I love that you were firm in your words about that. So, okay. Now, I find this also interesting because in our conversations you've mentioned that you don't believe in marriage. So, and you've talked about wanting your daughter to be married. Why would you want marriage for your daughter? Is the second part of the question. The first part is, why don't you believe in marriage?
Well, I do believe that a marriage is a legal form of prostitution.
A legal form of what? Let's say it slow, just so I don't miss it.
Of prostitution.
Got it. Okay. All right, guys. I told you it's going to be a fun show. We got all the seasonings out. Lowry's, cayenne pepper.
It's like, let's see. When you think of the pros and the cons, or even just the benefits alone, as far as what prostitution adds to a marriage, same thing.
Okay.
One doesn't work without the other, such as finance and romance. When one is messed up, the other. It's a business arrangement, correct? Usually.
Well, okay. Technically, yeah. I guess it really is. Because
usually it's a business. It's a business.
Right. Right.
And I always say, with that piece of paper, is that going to exempt you from being cheated on, being hurt, being abused, used? Does that say more? No, volumes say more. More is more. Okay.
All right. So, stance on marriage. I'm loving this. I'm like McDonald's right now. I'm loving it. This is a great conversation that I think needs to be had. And so, you don't believe in marriage, so I get that. But what about your daughter? Let's say she comes to you, she says she wants to be married. What do you think about marriage for her?
Well, that's my princess. I groomed my princess to be somebody else's queen. You see, so the guys that she dates, they're going to have to come correct. They can't just come with mediocrity. That's not going to set. That's not going to even get her at all. She knows, what she's worth, and understanding that and knowing that, I'm just hoping that she implement that, because we often follow our heart, and I'm just hoping, again, that she get what she's worth. There's a lot of us out here that are simply coming up short, and I would hope that, again, I'm grooming her. She's now being groomed to be somebody's queen, She's not to be mistreated, to be used and abused. She's delicate. Not because she's my child, because she's God's child, just as we all are.
Hey, what the church says.
And with that being right, so, and I, for one, and that's how I treat women. So it's accordingly, I would expect the same thing. Again, if that was what I would like, if that was my preference, but it isn't, and I just don't even see myself even getting married. I don't see why we can't just be together, build perhaps, and stay together for, years at a time. She was good. I mean, I figure if my taste buds change every 10 years, why can't my love for you change? I mean, things do happen. It does happen.
Lord Jesus, spoken like a true stud right there. That's AG philosophy right there. Variety is the spice of life. Now, that's a whole nother show. We will have you back on for that show. Because
please, and thank you.
Yeah. Well, that is when you said that to me, I thought, wow, our taste buds do change. That's interesting. what makes us want to be monogamous? Now, we know that we've been fighting for these rights, and there have been great strides in the LGBTQ community, but that's a question that's still up in the air, and it's interesting because a lot of right-wing people would hear you and see, we told you this is what we've been saying the whole time. But they believe in marriage for themselves, so there's some contradictions there. But that's a fascinating thing, Reds, and if you're open to it, I'm happy to have you back on. I would love to really talk about that in full. But let's get back to your daughter. So you're raising her to be someone else's queen, and does that mean marriage? Does that mean marriage for her?
Yes, for her.
Okay. All right. So there you guys go.
We're talking the kids, the white picket fence, the dog, everything.
Okay.
She wants the dream, the American dream.
Okay.
She wants it. She deserves it.
Okay, and that's a mother's prerogative, in my opinion. You can have all the feelings that you have about whatever, but for our children, we always want whatever they want, whatever they love, and so that's why I definitely respect you as a mother, because it seems like your interest is in what's best for her. So I'm always curious about the ways in which mothers impart interpersonal skills to their children, like how they react in the world with friends and all of that stuff, how they develop into adults. Can you share with us an experience where you had to give her tough love or parenting about things that were going on in her life?
Yeah. Well, recently, my daughter, she's now, she's starting to date and she's starting to meet different people. And, you just have to give her the facts of life. She's one of them, everybody can't be bad, but honey, everybody doesn't deserve, what you're willing to give them, as such as your time, And I tell her, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I know it's been 18 years since I've dealt with men, but the game is still the game. Take it from me, I know both sides, which is kind of like, she looked at me from head to toe,
Yeah.
And I know in the back of her mind want to say, like, what do you really know? Mom,
right.
She probably thinks that I really don't know what I'm talking about. I'm outdated. I don't know. Things changed. These boys changed. No, really it didn't. Really it didn't. And if you look back in our day, we designed the game. There was players before us.
Right.
They just changed the players. The game never changed. Just the players. That's it. She didn't understand the whole concept, But once she had to see some things for herself. She had to come to know some things on her own. Once she came to know, her eyes began to open, just as we all did at one point in time or another.
Okay. So you gave her the talks about knowing the game, and you moved on from there, because that's all you can do, because they still have to go through the experiences, from what I've learned.
Yes. Listen, these new people, honey, I'm still going to do the experience, if you will. I'm saying it's a different breed. I don't know.
Absolutely. It is a different breed, and that is it's a scary thing to send your children out into the world today. It's a brave new world, and so you do have to prepare them. I think that your daughter benefits from you knowing both sides of the game, because you have an insight that most mothers don't. You understand it from both perspectives. So she's kind of winning in that regard. She has a blessing in you there. So before we go today, I want to know, what is the best piece of advice that you can give about raising a successful child like your own? And I want to give you a minute to brag on her, because I know she is like a straight-A student, and she is this and that. So can you tell us a little bit about her and how you got her to be this way?
Sure. Well, for starters, I give her my time, I made a very conscious decision to not have any personal relationships, until she was older, after my last girlfriend,
Okay.
And that was a conscious decision that I had to make, put me to a side, because I didn't believe on introducing everybody to my daughter. That should be a privilege, and not to mention, she don't need to know every Keisha, Jane, and Jennifer, And with that being said,
yes,
Stephanie, don't forget Stephanie, you know.
Don't forget
but,
Stephanie.